So, Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes is the newest addition to this Planet of the Apes franchise. I have to say, newest Planet of the Apes franchise because, of course, we all know there are many other Planet of the Apes movies that have been made long before this one. But, I mean, this movie was actually surprising. When I first saw this trailer, I was like, oh, we're getting more? I thought this trilogy was over. I literally did think this trilogy was over because War of the Planet of the Apes actually did give us a very good ending. But when I saw it, I was like, okay, cool, let's continue the franchise. But the real question is, does it do promise to the franchise? Or is this just another cash grab from Hollywood? Who can say? So Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes takes many years after War of the Planet of the Apes. Of course, apes are now the dominant species, and humans have become feral, of course, and they are now the wild animals in this world. And our new protagonist, since it's no longer Caesar, since he died, is an ape named Noah, who is some kind of hunter of some kind, and he is currently on a quest trying to help his tribe be freed from this other tribe of apes that are technically bad because they're using Caesar's teachings wrongly. I guess that would be considered a sin in their culture. Let's, of course, get into the big topic of where Planet of the Apes is known for, and that's, of course, the special effects. Of course, in this series, it's more CGI than the practical special effects that Planet of the Apes was known for back in its original days. But, I mean, even though I've seen some pretty bad CGI movies, this is definitely not one of them. Neither are any of the other Planet of the Apes movies of this franchise. The CGI has always looked amazing in this movie visually. I mean, the scenery looks amazing, the world looks amazing, the apes look real. It's just that there are some moments here and there when you're like, wow, that looks fake as fuck. Let's now talk about our main character, Noah, because I really felt like he was going to be a biggie as to whether this movie was going to pop or flop. And well, he actually did a pretty good job, especially after, we're trying to find a new character to follow, of course, Caesar's amazing role in the trilogy. And now we have this new main character since Caesar's no longer with us. But, I mean, his story kind of felt like a coming-of-age story, kind of like the one that I saw in Rise of the Planet of the Apes. I mean, Caesar's trying to learn who he is, what he's meant to be in that movie. And in this movie, I feel like Noah goes through the same thing, but in a little bit of a different way. He's trying to learn about his world. He wants to know why other apes do this to humans. He wants to know what his purpose is. And I mean, it's a great story. And I think he did a really great job. It seems like maybe they can keep this movie going and telling his story now. Also, the villain Proximus, I mean, he was a really great antagonist as well. I mean, when it comes to antagonists as apes, he definitely does a good job. Then again, there was only one antagonist ape in this franchise, and that was Koba, but he put Koba to shame. I mean, Koba was just angry and spiteful. Like, there was no true goal to what he was trying to do in the war that happened in those first three movies. But in this one, Proximus actually has goals. He has visions of what he wants this world to be. I mean, he puts on the illusion that this is like a kingdom and it's religious and everything and the society is building, but honestly kind of gives off the vibe of a cult. And Kevin Durand as well, who voices Proximus, he did an amazing job as well. I mean, Kevin Durand can play so many different characters. He can usually plays the big buff bulky guys, but I mean, he can play a lunatic crazy ape leader as well. Good job. One of the problems I have with this movie is the same problem that I have with the Transformers movies, and that is, for some reason, they have to have a human character in there somewhere. And I'm like, why? I mean, the movie is called Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. I mean, the story is about the apes. The apes are telling the story. It's their story. The main character is an ape. You don't need to have that human presence in there to tell the story. There was no need for it. Just like with Transformers, the movie is about the robots. There's no need for that human presence. Just let it go. But for some reason, they got to have that human presence in there, and all the way up to the point where that human becomes nothing more than a background, extra, and I'm like, wow, that was a waste of time. Another issue I have with this movie, even though it's not as big of an issue as, humans, having a presence in this movie when it's about apes, is the fact that this journey they go on was mostly just a lot of walking. Now, I mean, don't get me wrong, there were moments where I was entertained, but I mean, the moments where we get like big stretches of a lot of walking through the land, I mean, it just reminded me of Lord of the Rings. And no offense to any LOTR fans out there, but I'm not a big fan of those movies specifically because of that. Now, I don't mind having like a movie where, the characters go on a journey, but I need to be entertained during that journey. Like there being some interaction with the land or them meeting other characters here and there. And then that would keep me more entertained so that, I don't fall asleep when the interesting stuff happens. Because it takes some time to get to the climax of this movie. This movie is 2.5 hours long. And it definitely does feel like it. This movie seems like now a new start to this new Planet of the Apes franchise. Of course, we can call this the first three like Caesar's story, and this movie now Noah's story. And I feel like the way this movie plays out, it's like they're trying to create a story for Noah now as well, because there were definitely some questions here that were unanswered, and I feel like they'll go more in depth with that if they keep going with this series. Though I feel that at the end of the day, they're trying to like reach that point where the original Planet of the Apes happened. You know, how the astronauts crash landed and everything. Because we don't know who was up there during War of the Planet of the Apes or when any of this stuff like in this time gap happened. There could be people up there in space. And that they're going to come back and then we're going to get in that moment. I mean, that's just my personal opinion, but I mean, it's at all possible. But definitely, I feel like this is supposed to be a build-up for Noah's story. So we have Caesar's story, those 3 movies, and then we're going to have Noah's story and how many movies that's going to be. Overall, I'm going to give Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes a B. I mean, great characters, good story, rich and great visuals, and although it's not the best in the Planet of the Apes franchise, it's a great new addition to it. And hopefully we get more additions to this new trilogy as well. Alright, well if you guys have seen Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, please comment here down below what your thoughts were on it. Also, if you like my other videos, don't forget to like and subscribe. I'll see you guys next time. And remember, stay epic!